Hello, this is a reading of a MGTOW subreddit post and response that was made, I believe, on March 3rd, 2015, and it goes as follows. The title is, I need some guidance, ellipses, please, to self.mgtow. Quote, hello everyone, my name is Greg and I'm 18 years old. I've been thinking about this conundrum for quite some time and I can honestly say I have no idea what the hell I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to school for engineering, an average-looking guy, and have an indifferent social life with those of the opposite gender. After thinking a fucking lot about the realisms of marriage, life, and all this other bullshit society comes up with to satisfy their hunger for a synthetic, meaningful life, I have no idea what I want to do. First, let me tell you what I personally believe is what I think is a meaningful life. I don't believe in true love. That's all horseshit. Humans are designed to breed, fuck, and find another mate to do the same. I look at all these awful marriages where the couples just hate each other's guts and the women end up fucking some other guy or vice versa and taking his money, and I can honestly say I am terrified of getting married. I also see couples of 20 years getting divorced or having their soulmate die, and then remarrying 1 year later like their ex-partner didn't even exist. Sure, maybe I eventually find a girl that I find beautiful and nice, but sooner or later we both get tired of each other. She gets old and dry, and I end up hating my life. Now, here's where the problem is. I believe the only way I can make meaning in my life is by having a child of my own that I can raise to venture into the world on their own. My issue is, how can I do this while totally despising the idea of stay with this person for the rest of your life, while giving my child an equal opportunity to live a normal life and grow up a strong, independent, and loving individual, and hopefully doesn't feel the same way I do about marriage. Long pause. Not sure if I asked the right place, but any advice, wisdom, or ideas that I should consider would be much appreciated. Thank you. And my response to Greg, if that's his real name, is as follows. Quote, and double quote, I guess. I believe the only way I can make meaning in my life is by having a child, my own child, that I can raise to venture the world on their own. End quote. May I ask you why you believe this is the only way that you can make meaning in your life? May I ask what you mean by meaning? Purpose, perhaps? An end goal, perhaps? What will you do if, say, you get testicular cancer? Now, I knew one guy in college, younger than me, in fact, who lost a testicle. Say, for instance, for whatever reason, you can't have children. In this hypothetical world, does your life cease to have meaning? Whatever lifeboat scenario you want to use, like your testicles are walking across the street and they get hit by a bus. A crazy axe murderer holds your testicles in her basement. Whatever. Assume that, for some reason, you cannot have children. Any reason. Then what? Do you lay down and die because the only meaning in life is to photocopy your genes into infinity? Or does life have something more to it? I assume that you like building things, creating and tinkering. Otherwise, I would question why you're an engineering student. Does that not give you pleasure? Is that not meaning enough to derive a sense of purpose by building fantastic machines? To enjoy the creative passion of your chosen work? Let's say that you can't be an engineer. Let's say your engineering degree is crossing the street and it gets hit by... does your life, again, lose meaning? You confuse me, sir. You're young. You're very smart for your age, so it's highly forgivable that you believe children are equal to the meaning of life. Hell, old people can be so foolish too. Age has nothing to do with this, really, and I'm just trying to give you a subtle compliment to your intelligence. You're a very smart guy. I can tell by your writing. But your request for guidance is a request wrongly asked because it assumes meaning is synonymous with having children. There's nothing wrong with your biological imperative. But if you're looking for guidance about taking a shit or drinking only water because all other fluids don't give your biology enough meaning, then you'd see how absurd this line of thinking is. So you have a biological urge. Just like any biological urge, it is part of your humanity. But do not make the is-ought leap of logic into faith. Do not put your faith into siring children as a means of finding purpose. No. That would be deriving an ought from an is. Your sex drive or desire to procreate is. It just is. But that does not mean that you ought. For instance, saying the sun shines is different from saying the sun ought to shine. If you want to derive meaning from biology, I'm a biochemist, so I guess I'd suggest studying bioethics if that's your jam. Otherwise, I would just simply tell you that genes are amoral molecules, which have no moral agency, and that questions of meaning and should or ought or good do not apply. They're molecules. It's your genes wanting to copy themselves. I guess if you want to derive meaning, the meaning of your life from biology, then why not pick nutrition? Why not the cardiovascular system, or the urge to defecate, or some other biological urge? Why of all biological urges to derive meaning is it the urge to have peristaltic contractions injecting semen into a woman? Why not the peristaltic contractions of taking a shit? Is that not equally absurd? Your genes want to make copies of themselves. They're very selfish. You can listen to them and your base instincts, your primal urges, and ignore your higher cognitive functions, and the realization of how your sexual desires can be leveraged against you in order for you to feed parasitical people. Mostly women, but men too. They can take advantage of other men through their sexuality, say through advertising with sexy models, shaming language, and some such. Yeah. And hey, if you decide to breed, then thanks. I appreciate that, since that will improve the economy, and eventually your kids will sell their labor and enrich themselves and pursue their passions. Who knows? Maybe they'll become a young engineer who I could talk to, who builds nifty things and makes my life more comfortable or otherwise enjoyable and enriched. And I'll benefit from that youth and passion. Oh wait, you're someone young and passionate looking for meaning and wanting to build things into the future. Well, hello. Thanks for that. But that doesn't matter. I mean, what I want doesn't matter. What benefits me here, no. That isn't how you derive meaning. There is no meaning in you or your having kids on account of some internet stranger you met on the MGTOW subreddit. No, meaning, and write this down, is derived from message terminated. Nah, just kidding. I wouldn't leave you hanging like that. Meaning is derived from understanding. It is intellectual in nature. These letters on your screen, which you're reading, which I have typed, have no meaning except within your thinking mind. And mine too, if you want to be generous and assume that I have a thinking mind as well. The meaning here is derived from understanding the symbology of letters that we call language. All meaning is within a thinking mind. It's in your head. The music chimes in. It was in you all along. But seriously, if you want real meaning, have real understanding. Understand reality. Observe. And what do you observe? Do you think that people with kids are happy? Nah, few of them. Few parents do it right. Most parents treat their children as chattel to be owned and controlled. Few parents have the resources to raise a child and maintain their irrational standards for living. You want a child? You want meaning? Engineer an artificial womb and create a child by understanding reality and then molding reality to your purposes. What would it mean to understand reality in such a way that you could have it meet your purpose? I'm biased in this regard, the artificial womb, since that's something I'd like to take a shot at building. It is one of my life's purposes. I find meaning in understanding the mechanics of life. But you don't have to go my way. This is MGTOW, after all. Go your own way. Be that child you wish to see venture forth in the world. If that's what you really want, then you can have it immediately, and without a brood mother eating your soul and a court system squeezing you dry with the threat of violent force and theft. You are the person whom you will be with for the rest of your life. You will carry your memories of you now into the future. You don't need a woman or a child to fulfill this role. You can be your own companion, or find others, that's your call. And I do suggest making friends. So if you want a legacy, then it is not exclusively the domain of those who breed to have a legacy, if that is your goal. I mean, yes, go breed if you want. I'm not going to stop you. Hell, I need someone to engineer an ass-wiping machine for when I get old and need my ass wiped, and maybe you or your kids will gift the world with your intellectual pursuits such that I get to benefit, as I have benefited from all those men who have came before me. I stand on the shoulders of giants. I see a little farther than they did. I benefit greatly. I won't stop you from doing something that benefits me. But don't, for 1 second, think that your sole purpose in life is to create more functional human beings, least of all for the sake of some schmuck like me, the whole damn rest of society. Fuck them, fuck me, fuck their expectations of you, fuck their standards of morality and their cult worship or irrational worship of the family. Again, as if genes possessed some moral weight. It's absurd. DNA is a fucking molecule. It's a tool in my toolbox. It is not my master. It is my servant. As Dr. Michael Gelb said of tandem mass spectroscopy and genetic screening of genital diseases, molecules are dumb. We're smart. We can trick them. Fuck their con game, fuck their ignorance, fuck their fucking, fuck it all. Think for yourself. Who told you that kids were tantamount to a meaningful existence? Again, meaning only exists in understanding. If you want meaning, then I suggest understanding. And engineering will teach you many natural sciences, which I highly recommend in this regard. But avoid academic philosophy, though. Avoid it like the plague. They have an agenda, and they're like selfish genes trying to reproduce mimetically. They will indoctrinate you, and it is critical that you retain your critical thinking, skepticism, capacity for reason, and curiosity. Self-study if you want to ask questions like, what is the meaning of life? By all means, audit the philosophy classes if you want, but never bow to the grade giver's authority to threaten you with academic sanction. It will stifle your freedom of thought, which is antithetical to the love of wisdom, philosophy as it is otherwise known. Keep looking, sir. I appreciate that you looked for guidance in MGTOW philosophy, and hopefully you found this helpful, applicable, and in harmony with the truth of reality so as to provide meaningful guidance, as opposed to the nonsense that you may find elsewhere. Keep looking at the evidence. Keep looking at the evidence, my friend. Keep looking at the evidence. End quote. And this has been owlmgtow, and hopefully you enjoyed that reading of my response to Greg, if that is his real name, on the MGTOW subreddit. And hopefully this has been helpful for the audience as well. Hopefully it has been applicable and in harmony with the truth of reality, so as to provide you also with meaningful guidance.